Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words, spoken by one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, remind us that every obstacle we encounter is not a barrier but a stepping stone. But here's a question to ponder. What if every challenge you face, every objection, every setback wasn't just a test but an opportunity to strengthen your inner resolve? That's the essence of Stoicism. It's not about avoiding difficulties, it's about transforming them into tools for growth. In this video, we'll explore how Stoic principles like cognitive detachment, resilience, and the dichotomy of control can help you dominate life's obstacles with an iron will. These ancient ideas aren't just philosophical musings, they're practical tools that can guide you through the chaos of modern life. So, are you ready to see how Stoicism can help you turn adversity into advantage? Let's begin. Stoicism begins with understanding what is within your power and what is not. This core idea, known as the dichotomy of control, is one of the most liberating tools the Stoics offer. It's about drawing a clear line between what we can influence and what lies beyond our reach. Think about it. How often do we exhaust ourselves trying to change things we simply can't? The weather, other people's opinions, or even the traffic on your morning commute, these are all external events outside your control, but your reaction to them. That's entirely up to you. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, put it simply: some things are within our power while others are not. This distinction isn't just philosophical, it's deeply practical. By focusing your energy on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your choices, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to manage the uncontrollable. Imagine standing in a crowded subway, running late for work. You can't make the train move faster, but you can choose how you respond. Will you let frustration take over, or will you use the time to breathe, reflect, and prepare for the day ahead? That's the power of the dichotomy of control in action. Let's take this a step further. Consider a common scenario: receiving harsh criticism at work. The criticism itself is outside your control. It's someone else's opinion, and you can't force them to change it. But your response, that's where your power lies. You can choose to let it upset you, or you can see it as an opportunity to grow, to reflect, and to improve. This shift in focus doesn't just reduce stress, it empowers you to take meaningful action. Here's a simple exercise to put this into practice. Take a moment to list 3 things you can control and 3 you cannot. For example, you can control how much effort you put into a project, but you can't control whether your boss will praise you for it. Once you've made your list, reflect on it. How does this distinction change the way you approach challenges? By focusing on what's within your power, you reclaim your energy and direct it toward what truly matters. This principle isn't about giving up or resigning to fate. It's about strategically allocating your resources. When you stop fighting against the uncontrollable, you create space to act with intention and clarity. It's a mindset shift that can transform how you navigate life's ups and downs, one decision at a time. How often do you let external results dictate your happiness? If you're like most people, it's probably more often than you'd like to admit. We tie our sense of worth, our peace of mind, and even our joy to outcomes we can't fully control, whether it's landing a promotion, impressing someone, or achieving a personal goal. But what if you could find a way to remain steady no matter what happens? That's where the Stoic principle of cognitive detachment comes in. Cognitive detachment isn't about not caring or becoming indifferent to life. It's about shifting your focus from the uncontrollable outcomes to the only thing you truly own, your internal response. The Stoics believed that external events are, by their nature, indifferent. They're neither good nor bad in themselves. What gives them meaning is how we perceive them. This is where your power lies. As Seneca wisely put it, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. In other words, much of our distress comes from how we interpret events, not the events themselves. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As Roman emperor, he faced unimaginable challenges, from political betrayals to a devastating plague that swept through the empire. Yet his writings reveal a man who remained calm and focused, not because he didn't care, but because he understood that worrying about what he couldn't change would only drain his energy. Instead, he channeled his efforts into what he could do, leading with wisdom, making just decisions, and maintaining his own virtue. That's cognitive detachment in action, seeing the world clearly without letting it shake your inner peace. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Start by identifying one situation this week where you tend to get emotionally caught up in the outcome. Maybe it's a project at work, a conversation with a loved one, or even a personal goal. Instead of fixating on the result, focus on what you can control: your effort, your attitude, and your response. Ask yourself, if things don't go as planned, how can I use this as an opportunity to grow? This shift in mindset doesn't just reduce anxiety, it empowers you to act with clarity and purpose. Cognitive detachment is a practice, not a one-time fix. It requires mindfulness and a willingness to let go of the illusion that we can control everything. But with time, it becomes a powerful tool for maintaining inner peace, no matter what life throws your way. And isn't that a skill worth cultivating? Every obstacle is a chance to prove your strength. This isn't just a motivational platitude, it's a foundational principle of Stoicism. The Stoics didn't see challenges as something to fear or avoid. They saw them as opportunities to grow, to refine their character, and to demonstrate their resilience. In fact, they believed that adversity was the ultimate teacher, revealing our true nature and pushing us to become better versions of ourselves. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: the obstacle in the path becomes the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve your condition. These words remind us that the very things we perceive as barriers can become the tools that shape us into stronger, wiser individuals. So, how do we reframe challenges in this way? It starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoics would encourage us to ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can this make me stronger?" It's about viewing every setback not as a defeat but as a test, a chance to practice patience, courage, and perseverance. Think of it like lifting weights. The resistance isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. And just like physical exercise, the more you train your mind to face challenges with resilience, the stronger you become. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion at work. At first, it feels like a crushing blow, a clear sign that you're not good enough. But what if, instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you used it as fuel to improve? What if you saw it as an opportunity to identify areas where you can grow, to seek feedback, and to come back stronger? That's what resilience looks like in action. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about using failure as a stepping stone to success. The Stoics also understood that resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about moving forward with purpose. Consider the story of Ryan Holiday, a modern Stoic writer and strategist. Early in his career, he faced a significant professional setback when a major project he'd poured his heart into was abruptly cancelled. Instead of letting it derail him, he used the experience to reflect, reassess, and pivot. Out of that challenge came his best-selling book, The Obstacle is the Way, which has inspired countless people to see adversity as an ally rather than an enemy. His story is a testament to the power of Stoic resilience, turning what could have been a defeat into a defining moment of growth. Now, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Can you think of a time when you faced a challenge that, in hindsight, made you stronger? Maybe it was a personal loss, a professional disappointment, or a moment of self-doubt. How did you grow from that experience? What did it teach you about your own resilience? By revisiting these moments, you're not just remembering the past, you're reinforcing your ability to face future challenges with confidence and clarity. Resilience, as the Stoics teach us, isn't about avoiding pain or difficulty. It's about embracing them as part of the journey, knowing that each obstacle is an invitation to rise higher. It's about recognizing that the path to strength isn't smooth, it's rugged, unpredictable, and often demanding, but it's also the only path that leads to true growth. So, the next time life throws a challenge your way, remember, this isn't just a test, it's an opportunity, and how you respond will define not just the outcome, but the person you become along the way. How often do you find yourself dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? It's a common habit, one that can pull us away from the only moment we truly have, the present. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that the key to overcoming objections and obstacles lies in staying fully rooted in the here and now. As Epictetus once said, we should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or is not in my control? If it's not in your control, then let it go. If it is, then act, but act now. This isn't just a call to action, it's a reminder that the present moment is where life happens and where we have the power to make a difference. Think about a typical day. Maybe you're juggling work deadlines, family responsibilities, and personal goals. The stress can feel overwhelming, especially when your mind is racing ahead to what might go wrong or replaying what already has. But what if, instead of getting caught in that mental whirlwind, you paused and focused on the task at hand? That's the power of presence. It's about cutting through the noise of distraction and anxiety to act with clarity and purpose. When you're fully present, you're not just reacting to life, you're actively shaping it. Consider this scenario. You're in the middle of a busy day and everything seems to be going wrong. Emails are piling up, your to-do list is growing, and you feel like you're falling behind. Instead of letting panic take over, you take a moment to ground yourself. You focus on your breath, notice the sensations around you, and bring your attention back to the present. Suddenly, the chaos feels more manageable. You're able to prioritize, tackle one thing at a time, and move forward without being overwhelmed. This isn't magic, it's mindfulness, a practice the Stoics championed long before it became a modern buzzword. The Stoics didn't just talk about the importance of presence, they lived it. Marcus Aurelius, despite the immense pressures of ruling an empire, often reminded himself to stay grounded in the moment. In his meditations, he wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice." This wasn't just advice for emperors, it's a blueprint for anyone looking to navigate life's challenges with grace and intention. So, how can you start incorporating this into your own life? Here's a simple practice. Set aside 5 minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the sounds around you, and the sensations in your body. If your mind starts to wander, and it will gently bring it back to the present, over time, this small habit can help you cultivate the kind of presence that allows you to face obstacles with calm and clarity. And as you practice, take note of how it changes your perspective. Do you feel more grounded, more in control, more capable of handling whatever comes your way? The power of presence isn't about ignoring the past or the future. It's about recognizing that the present is where your power lies. It's where you can make choices, take action, and create change. By staying rooted in the now, you not only overcome objections and obstacles more effectively, but you also find a deeper sense of peace and purpose in the process. So the next time life feels overwhelming, remember, the present moment is your greatest ally. How will you use it? Comfort is the enemy of progress. It's a bold statement, but one the Stoics would wholeheartedly agree with. They believed that true growth doesn't come from avoiding discomfort, it comes from leaning into it, using it as a tool to sharpen your mind and strengthen your character. Think about it. When was the last time you truly grew while staying in your comfort zone? Probably never. Growth demands friction, challenge, and yes, even discomfort. The Stoics didn't just accept this idea, they actively sought out hardship as a way to train their resilience and deepen their understanding of themselves. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. This isn't just poetic wisdom, it's a practical approach to life. By willingly enduring discomfort, you're not punishing yourself, you're preparing yourself. You're building the mental and emotional muscles needed to handle whatever life throws your way. It's like resistance training for the soul. Take Cato the Younger, a Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher, as an example. He was known for his austere lifestyle, often choosing to walk barefoot in harsh weather or sleep on the ground, even when he had the means to live more comfortably. Why? Because he understood that by embracing discomfort, he was cultivating a resilience that no external circumstance could shake. He wasn't just enduring hardship for its own sake, he was using it to become unbreakable. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start small. Identify one area where you've been avoiding discomfort. Maybe it's waking up earlier, tackling a difficult conversation, or committing to a new fitness routine. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what's the growth on the other side of this discomfort? How might enduring this challenge make you stronger, wiser, or more capable? Here's a practical exercise for the next week. Choose one daily discomfort to embrace. It could be something as simple as taking a cold shower or going a day without your usual comforts. Pay attention to how it feels, not just physically, but mentally. Notice the resistance, the urge to quit, and the small victories when you push through. Over time, these small acts of courage add up, building a foundation of resilience that can carry you through life's bigger challenges. Embracing discomfort isn't about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about recognizing that the path to growth is often uncomfortable and choosing to walk it anyway. It's about training yourself to see discomfort not as a threat, but as an ally in your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. So, where in your life can you start embracing discomfort today? The answer might just be the first step toward a stronger, more resilient you. What if you could respond to challenges with clarity instead of emotion? This simple yet profound question lies at the heart of the Stoic Pause, a practice that can transform how you navigate life's obstacles. The Stoic Pause is exactly what it sounds like, a deliberate moment of stillness before you react. It's about creating space between an event and your response, so you can act with intention rather than impulse. The Stoics understood that our first reactions are often driven by emotion, and emotions, while natural, don't always lead to the best decisions. By pausing, you give yourself the chance to step back, assess the situation, and choose a response that aligns with your values and goals. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, emphasized the importance of this practice. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In other words, true freedom comes from self-control, from the ability to pause, reflect, and act with purpose. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about not letting them dictate your actions. Think of it like a mental reset button. When you hit pause, you create an opportunity to shift from reacting to responding, from chaos to clarity. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument with a colleague. Tensions are high and words are flying back and forth. In that moment, it's easy to say something you'll regret, something driven by anger or frustration. But what if, instead of firing back, you took a deep breath and paused? That small act of restraint could completely change the trajectory of the conversation. It allows you to choose your words carefully, to listen actively, and to address the issue without escalating the conflict. The Stoic pause doesn't just prevent regret, it fosters understanding and respect. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need any special tools or training, you just need the awareness to stop and breathe. Even a few seconds of pause can make a world of difference. It's like stepping out of a storm and into a calm, quiet room. From there, you can see the situation more clearly, weigh your options, and choose the best course of action. This isn't just about avoiding mistakes, it's about creating opportunities for growth and connection. Here's a practical way to start incorporating the Stoic pause into your life. The next time you face a challenging situation, whether it's a disagreement, a stressful email, or even a personal setback, try this three-step approach. First, pause, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to collect your thoughts. Second, reflect, ask yourself, what's really happening here, what's within my control and what's not? And third, respond. Choose an action that aligns with your values and goals rather than reacting out of habit or emotion. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, helping you navigate life's challenges with greater ease and confidence. The Stoic pause isn't just a tool for handling conflict, it's a mindset shift that can improve every aspect of your life. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose how you respond, no matter the circumstances. And when you exercise that power, you're not just overcoming obstacles, you're mastering them. So, the next time you're faced with a challenge, remember, pause, reflect, and respond. That small moment of stillness could be the key to unlocking a wiser, more intentional version of yourself. Acceptance is the first step toward peace. It's a simple idea, but one that carries profound weight in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes not from controlling the world around us, but from accepting what we cannot change. This isn't about resignation or passivity. It's about recognizing reality as it is without resistance or denial. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. These words remind us that acceptance isn't just a mental exercise. It's a heartfelt commitment to living in harmony with life's inevitable ups and downs. At its core, acceptance is about letting go of the illusion that we can control everything. Think about it. How much energy do we waste fighting against things that are simply beyond our power? The weather, traffic, other people's opinions, all of these are external forces that we can't change. Yet, so often, we let them dictate our mood, our decisions, and even our sense of self-worth. The Stoics teach us that by accepting these realities, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. It's not that we stop caring, it's that we stop letting what we can't control us. Let's bring this to life with a practical example. Imagine you've just lost your job. It's a devastating blow, and it's natural to feel anger, fear, or even despair. But here's the question: can you change the fact that you've been let go? No. What you can change is how you respond. Acceptance doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation without letting it define you. It means saying, this happened and it's hard, but I'm still here. I still have choices. I can still move forward. That shift in mindset doesn't just reduce the emotional weight of the situation. It opens the door to new possibilities. Now consider how this applies to smaller, everyday challenges. Maybe it's a delayed flight, a cancelled plan, or a misunderstanding with a friend. In each case, the initial reaction might be frustration or disappointment. But what if, instead of resisting what's happened, you paused and asked yourself, can I change this? If not, how can I accept it and move forward? This simple act of acceptance can transform how you experience life, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth. Here's an exercise to help you practice this. Think of one thing in your life right now that you're struggling to accept. It could be a personal loss, a professional setback, or even a relationship dynamic that feels out of your control. Write it down and then ask yourself, how is resisting this reality affecting me? What might happen if I chose to accept it instead? This reflection isn't about giving up, it's about reclaiming your power to respond with clarity and purpose. Acceptance, as the Stoics understood, is a form of liberation. It's about releasing the grip of what we can't control so we can focus on what we can. It's about finding peace not in the absence of challenges, but in the way we choose to face them. So, the next time life throws something your way that you can't change, remember, acceptance isn't the end of the road, it's the beginning of a new path. And on that path, you'll find not just peace, but the strength to keep moving forward, no matter what. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's a truth the Stoics understood deeply. They didn't see courage as a lack of fear, they saw it as the willingness to act despite it. For the Stoics, courage wasn't about grand gestures or heroic acts. It was about doing what's right, even when it's hard, even when fear tries to hold you back. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most profound thinkers, put it this way: sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. These words remind us that courage isn't just for the battlefield or the spotlight, it's for the everyday moments when we choose to rise above our doubts and take a step forward. So, how do the Stoics define courage? At its core, it's about aligning your actions with your values, even in the face of fear or uncertainty. It's not about ignoring your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging them, feeling the fear, the doubt, the discomfort, and then choosing to act anyway. This kind of courage is deeply practical. It's the courage to have a difficult conversation, to stand up for what you believe in, or to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. It's the courage to face life head-on, no matter how daunting it may seem. Take Socrates, for example. When faced with the choice of renouncing his beliefs or drinking the hemlock that would end his life, he chose the latter. This wasn't an act of recklessness or defiance, it was an act of profound courage. He refused to compromise his principles, even at the cost of his own life. His decision wasn't about winning or losing, it was about staying true to what he believed was right. This is the essence of Stoic courage, doing what's necessary, even when it's terrifying, because it's the right thing to do. But courage doesn't always look like a life or death decision. Often, it shows up in the small, quiet moments that no one else sees. It's the courage to admit you're wrong, to ask for help when you need it, or to start over after a failure. These acts might not make the history books, but they're no less significant. They're the building blocks of a resilient, principled life, one where you don't let fear dictate your choices. Here's a practical way to cultivate courage in your own life. Think about one fear that's been holding you back. Maybe it's the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, or even the fear of being judged. Now ask yourself, what would it look like to face that fear this week? It doesn't have to be a monumental act. It could be as simple as speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to someone you admire, or trying something new. The key is to take that first step, no matter how small. Remember, courage isn't about erasing fear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. As you reflect on this, consider this: what would your life look like if you embraced courage as a daily practice? How might it change the way you approach challenges, relationships, or even your own goals? The Stoics believed that courage is a virtue, not because it's easy, but because it's essential. It's the bridge between fear and action, between hesitation and progress. And every time you choose courage, you're not just overcoming an obstacle, you're building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. So, what's one fear you're ready to face this week? The choice is yours and the opportunity is now. How often do you let emotions cloud your judgment? It's a question worth asking because in the heat of the moment, emotions can feel like the loudest voice in the room, urging us to act impulsively, to react defensively, or to avoid discomfort at all costs. But the Stoics offer us a different approach: reason. For them, reason wasn't just a tool, it was the guiding light that could cut through the fog of emotions, helping us make clear, rational decisions even in the face of objections and obstacles. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, reason is the key to reclaiming control over how we respond to life's challenges. So, what does it mean to use reason as a Stoic would? It's about stepping back from the immediacy of your emotions and asking yourself, what's really going on here? What's within my control and what's the wisest way forward? This isn't about suppressing your feelings, it's about not letting them dictate your actions. Think of reason as a filter, a way to process your emotions, evaluate the facts, and choose a response that aligns with your values and goals. It's a practice that requires patience and discipline, but the payoff is immense: clarity, purpose, and the ability to navigate life's ups and downs with confidence. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're faced with a tough financial decision. Maybe you've been offered a high-paying job that requires moving across the country, leaving behind friends, family, and a life you've built. The emotions might be overwhelming: excitement about the opportunity, fear of the unknown, guilt about leaving loved ones. In this situation, reason steps in to help you weigh the pros and cons objectively. It asks, what's the long-term impact of this decision? Does it align with your values? What are the risks and are they worth it? By engaging your rational mind, you're able to make a decision that's thoughtful rather than reactive, grounded rather than impulsive. The Stoics believed that reason is our greatest ally in overcoming obstacles because it helps us see the bigger picture. It allows us to detach from the immediacy of a situation and consider the long-term consequences of our actions. This isn't about cold, calculated logic, it's about using our minds to serve our highest good. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Reason gives us the power to choose our reactions wisely, even when the circumstances are beyond our control. Here's a practical exercise to help you strengthen your ability to reason. Think about a recent decision you made, one where emotions played a big role. Now, replay that moment in your mind, but this time, imagine how reason could have guided you differently. What questions would you have asked yourself? What factors would you have weighed more carefully? This reflection isn't about regret, it's about learning. By practicing this kind of mental rehearsal, you're training yourself to lean into reason, even when emotions are running high. The role of reason in Stoicism isn't just about making better decisions, it's about living a more intentional life. It's about recognizing that while emotions are a natural part of being human, they don't have to be the boss. With reason as your guide, you can navigate objections and obstacles with clarity and purpose, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. So, the next time you find yourself caught in an emotional storm, remember, reason is your anchor. How will you use it to steer your course? What if every obstacle in your life is actually a gift in disguise? It's a question that might feel counterintuitive, especially when you're in the thick of struggle. But for the Stoics, gratitude wasn't just a feel-good exercise, it was a powerful tool for transforming how we see the world. They believed that even in the face of adversity, there's always something to be grateful for. It's not about ignoring the difficulty or pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your focus to what remains, even when life takes things away. As Epictetus once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Gratitude gives us that why, a reason to find meaning, even in the hardest moments. So, how does gratitude work in Stoic philosophy? It's about recognizing that every challenge, no matter how painful, carries an opportunity for growth. Think of it like this: when you're handed a lemon, you can either complain about its sourness or squeeze it into lemonade. Gratitude is the act of choosing the latter. It's not about denying the bitterness, it's about finding the sweetness that comes with it. The Stoics taught that by practicing gratitude, we train our minds to see value in every situation, even the ones that initially feel like setbacks. Let's bring this to life with a real-world example. Imagine you've just recovered from a serious illness. The experience was exhausting, painful, and maybe even terrifying. But now that you're on the other side, you notice something. You've gained a newfound appreciation for your health, for the people who supported you, and even for the small joys of everyday life. That's gratitude in action. It doesn't erase the hardship, but it gives it meaning. It reminds you that even in the darkest moments, there's light to be found. Here's a practical way to start incorporating gratitude into your own life. Take a moment today to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or the feeling of the sun on your face. The act of writing them down helps solidify them in your mind, creating a mental habit of looking for the good, even when things feel tough. Over time, this practice can shift your perspective, helping you see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow and learn. Gratitude, as the Stoics understood, isn't just a passive feeling, it's an active practice. It's about training your mind to find value in every situation, no matter how difficult. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So the next time you're faced with an obstacle, ask yourself, what's the gift here? What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? By asking these questions, you're not just enduring life, you're embracing it with all its challenges and opportunities. And that's where true resilience begins. Your desires can either empower or enslave you. It's a stark truth, but one the Stoics understood deeply. They believed that the key to overcoming objections and obstacles lies not in eliminating desire, but in mastering it. Desires, after all, are natural. They drive us to achieve, to grow, to connect. But when left unchecked, they can also lead us astray, pulling us away from what truly matters. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire, and it's about aligning what you want with what's virtuous, what's meaningful, and what's within your control. It's not about denying yourself pleasure or ambition. It's about ensuring those desires serve your higher purpose rather than dictate your life. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This insight cuts to the heart of the discipline of desire. It's not the lack of something that causes suffering, it's the endless pursuit of it. The Stoics taught that by examining our desires, we can free ourselves from the constant cycle of wanting and dissatisfaction. Instead of chasing external rewards, wealth, status, or approval, we can focus on cultivating inner virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-control. This shift doesn't just reduce stress, it empowers us to live with clarity and purpose. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and you see a friend's post about their lavish vacation or new car. Instantly, a desire flares up. Maybe it's envy, maybe it's the urge to keep up, or maybe it's just a longing for something more. In that moment, you have a choice. You can let that desire take the wheel, leading you to overspend, overwork, or overextend yourself in pursuit of something fleeting. Or you can pause and ask yourself, does this align with my values? Is this truly what I want, or is it just a reaction to what I see? That moment of reflection is the discipline of desire in action. It's about choosing what serves you rather than what controls you. The Stoics didn't just talk about this principle, they lived it. Take Epictetus, for example. Born into slavery, he understood firsthand the dangers of unchecked desire. Yet, through his teachings, he showed that true freedom comes from mastering what you want, not from acquiring what you lack. His life was a testament to the power of aligning desire with virtue, proving that even in the most challenging circumstances, we can choose how we respond to our wants and needs. Here's an exercise to help you practice this discipline. Think about one desire that's been pulling at you recently. Maybe it's the desire for recognition, for comfort, or for something material. Now ask yourself, is this desire rooted in my values, or is it a reaction to external pressures? How can I align it with what truly matters to me? By reflecting on these questions, you're not just managing desire, you're reclaiming your power to choose how it shapes your life. The discipline of desire isn't about saying no to everything you want. It's about saying yes to the things that truly matter, to the desires that align with your values, your purpose, and your vision for a meaningful life. So, what's one desire you can reframe or redirect today? The answer might just be the first step toward a more intentional, empowered you. What if your biggest obstacle is actually your greatest teacher? This might sound like a paradox, but for the Stoics, it's a fundamental truth. They believe that every challenge, no matter how daunting, carries the potential to teach us something valuable if we're willing to shift our perspective. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, how we see the world shapes how we experience it. If we view obstacles as enemies, they'll feel like burdens. But if we see them as teachers, they become opportunities to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. This is the power of perspective, a tool that can transform not just how you face challenges, but how you move through life itself. The Stoics didn't just preach this idea, they lived it. Take Epictetus, for example. Born into slavery, he endured circumstances that would break many people. Yet, instead of seeing himself as a victim, he chose to view his situation as a classroom. His enslavement, as painful as it was, taught him invaluable lessons about freedom, not the kind that comes from external circumstances, but the kind that comes from within. He once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset didn't just help him survive, it allowed him to thrive, eventually becoming one of the most respected Stoic teachers in history. His story is a testament to the transformative power of perspective. So, how can we apply this in our own lives? Start by reframing the way you see challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can this make me stronger?" This shift might feel small, but it can have a profound impact. For instance, imagine you've been passed over for a promotion. At first, it feels like a personal failure, a sign that you're not good enough. But what if, instead of seeing it as a setback, you viewed it as an opportunity? Maybe it's a chance to reassess your goals, to improve your skills, or to explore new paths you hadn't considered before. By changing your perspective, you transform a moment of disappointment into a stepping stone for growth. Here's a practical exercise to help you practice this. Think about one challenge you're currently facing, whether it's a professional hurdle, a personal struggle, or even a recurring frustration. Now, write it down and ask yourself, what's the lesson here? How can this experience teach me something valuable? This simple act of reflection can help you see the situation in a new light, turning what feels like an obstacle into a source of insight and strength. The power of perspective isn't just about finding silver linings. It's about recognizing that every challenge, no matter how difficult, is an invitation to grow. It's about understanding that the way you see the world shapes how you experience it, and that by shifting your perspective, you can transform even the toughest moments into opportunities for learning and resilience. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what's the lesson here? The answer might just change everything. self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's what transforms aspiration into action and dreams into reality. For the Stoics, self-discipline wasn't just a tool for achieving external success, it was the foundation of inner freedom. They believed that true power comes not from controlling the world around us, but from mastering ourselves. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most profound teachers, put it simply, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This idea cuts to the heart of what self-discipline really means. It's not about punishing yourself or denying pleasure. It's about aligning your actions with your values even when it's hard. It's about choosing what's right over what's easy, and in doing so, reclaiming your power to shape your life. At its core, self-discipline is about consistency. It's the daily decision to show up even when motivation wanes or obstacles arise. Think about it. How often do we set ambitious goals only to let them slip away because we lack the discipline to follow through? The Stoics understood this struggle, and they offered a solution: focus on the process, not the outcome. Instead of fixating on the end result, they taught us to take pride in the small, consistent actions that lead us there. It's not about perfection, it's about progress, one step at a time. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you've decided to start a fitness routine. At first, you're motivated, you buy the gear, set the alarm, and hit the gym with enthusiasm. But after a few weeks, the novelty wears off. The bed feels warmer, the excuses pile up, and the temptation to skip grows stronger. This is where self-discipline comes in. It's not about feeling motivated every day. It's about showing up even when you don't. It's about reminding yourself why you started and committing to the process, not just the goal. Over time, those small, disciplined choices add up, shaping not just your body but your character. The Stoics didn't just talk about self-discipline, they lived it. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As Emperor of Rome, he faced immense pressure and responsibility. Yet he maintained a daily practice of reflection and self-improvement, writing in his journal to hold himself accountable. His meditations weren't just philosophical musings, they were a testament to the power of self-discipline in cultivating wisdom and resilience. He understood that without discipline, even the best intentions can fall apart. But with it, we can build a life of purpose and integrity. So, how can you strengthen your own self-discipline? Start small. Identify one area of your life where you've been struggling to stay consistent, whether it's exercise, work, or even your morning routine. Commit to one small, actionable step each day and track your progress. Over time, these small wins will build momentum, making it easier to stay on track even when challenges arise. Remember, self-discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Here's a question to reflect on. Where in your life could you use a little more self-discipline? Is it in your habits, your relationships, or your personal growth? By identifying that area and taking small, consistent steps to improve, you're not just building discipline, you're building the kind of inner freedom that allows you to overcome any obstacle. And that's a skill worth cultivating. How much of what you worry about is truly necessary? It's a question worth asking, because so often we complicate our lives with unnecessary clutter, both physical and mental. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that simplicity isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a tool for overcoming obstacles and finding clarity in chaos. By stripping away the excess, we create space to focus on what truly matters: our values, our goals, and the actions that align with them. As Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." These words remind us that true wealth isn't about accumulation, it's about letting go of what doesn't serve us. The Stoic approach to simplicity goes beyond minimalism. It's about prioritizing what's essential and letting go of the distractions that pull us away from our purpose. Think about it. How much time and energy do we waste on things that don't truly matter, whether it's material possessions, social obligations, or even the endless stream of information we consume daily? The Stoics teach us that by simplifying, we free ourselves from the weight of these distractions, allowing us to act with greater focus and intention. It's not about living with less for the sake of it. It's about making room for more of what brings meaning to our lives. Let's bring this to life with a practical example. Imagine your home is cluttered, every surface covered with items you don't use, every drawer stuffed with things you've forgotten. Now picture yourself decluttering that space. As you let go of what you no longer need, you feel a sense of relief, of lightness. That's the power of simplicity in action. It's not just about creating a cleaner space, it's about creating mental clarity. When your environment is simplified, your mind feels clearer and you're better equipped to tackle challenges with focus and resolve. This principle applies to more than just physical clutter. Consider your schedule. How many commitments do you have that don't align with your priorities? How often do you say yes to things out of obligation, only to feel drained and overwhelmed? The Stoics would encourage you to simplify here too. By saying no to what doesn't serve you, you say yes to what does, whether it's time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply allowing yourself to rest. Simplicity, in this sense, becomes a form of self-respect. Here's a practical way to start. This week, choose one area of your life to simplify. It could be your workspace, your daily routine, or even your digital life. Begin by asking yourself, what here is truly necessary, what adds value, and what's just taking up space. As you let go of the excess, notice how it feels. Do you feel lighter, more focused, more in control? That's the gift of simplicity. It doesn't just clear your surroundings, it clears your mind, giving you the clarity and energy to overcome obstacles with greater ease. The value of simplicity isn't just about doing less, it's about being more. It's about creating the space to live intentionally, to act with purpose, and to focus on what truly matters. So, what's one thing you can let go of today to make room for what does? The answer might just be the first step toward a simpler, more meaningful life. When was the last time you truly reflected on your actions? Not just a passing thought, but a deep, intentional pause to consider what went well, what didn't, and what you could do differently next time. For the Stoics, reflection wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. They believed that regular self-examination is one of the most powerful tools we have for navigating objections and obstacles. It's through reflection that we learn from our experiences, gain clarity on our values, and make better decisions moving forward. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Reflection is how we tap into that power, turning life's challenges into opportunities for growth. So, what does reflection look like in practice? For the Stoics, it was a daily ritual, a time to step back from the noise of the world and examine their thoughts, actions, and choices. They didn't just go through the motions of life, they actively engaged with it, asking questions like, did I act with integrity today? Did I let my emotions control me? What can I do better tomorrow? This kind of reflection isn't about self-criticism or dwelling on mistakes. It's about learning, adapting, and becoming more aligned with your highest self. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you've just had a tough day at work. Maybe a project didn't go as planned, or a conversation with a colleague left you feeling frustrated. Instead of brushing it off and moving on, you take 5 minutes before bed to reflect. You ask yourself, what happened today? How did I respond? Was there a better way to handle that situation? By doing this, you're not just processing the day's events, you're learning from them. You're identifying patterns, recognizing areas for improvement, and setting yourself up to handle similar challenges more effectively in the future. That's the power of reflection. It transforms experience into wisdom. The Stoics didn't just talk about reflection, they built it into their daily lives. Take Seneca, for example. At the end of each day, he would sit down and review his actions, asking himself questions like, "What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow?" This practice wasn't about perfection, it was about progress. By reflecting regularly, he ensured that every day, no matter how challenging, became an opportunity to grow. Here's a practical way to start incorporating reflection into your own life. Tonight, before you go to bed, take just 5 minutes to reflect on your day. Ask yourself, what went well, what didn't, what can I learn from today's experiences? Write down your thoughts if it helps, but the key is to make it a habit. Over time, this simple practice can help you gain clarity, build resilience, and navigate life's obstacles with greater ease. Reflection, as the Stoics understood, isn't just about looking back, it's about moving forward with intention. It's about taking the lessons of today and using them to shape a better tomorrow. So, when was the last time you truly reflected on your actions? And more importantly, when will you start making it a regular part of your life? The answer might just be the key to unlocking a wiser, more intentional you. Who do you turn to when life gets tough? It's a question we've all faced at some point, and the Stoics had a surprising answer: community. While Stoicism often emphasizes self-reliance and inner strength, it also recognizes the profound role that others play in helping us overcome challenges. In fact, the Stoics believed that relationships, whether with friends, family, or even like-minded strangers, are not just a nice-to-have, they're essential to living a meaningful and resilient life. As Seneca famously said, "Friendship always benefits, love sometimes injures. If you ask me what I have come to do in this life, I will reply, I have come to live among friends." These words remind us that while we may strive to master our own minds, we're never meant to face life's obstacles alone. The Stoics didn't just see community as a source of comfort, they saw it as a mirror for self-improvement. Think about it: when you surround yourself with people who share your values, who challenge you to grow, and who hold you accountable, you're not just building relationships, you're building a support system that helps you stay aligned with your highest self. This is why the Stoics placed such importance on choosing the right people to share your life with. They understood that the company you keep shapes your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your character. It's not about relying on others to solve your problems. It's about creating a network of mutual support that empowers everyone to thrive. Consider the Stoic community in ancient Rome. Figures like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus didn't live in isolation. They were deeply connected to others who shared their philosophical ideals. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, often relied on his advisors and peers for counsel, recognizing that even the most powerful among us need wisdom and perspective from others. Seneca, too, wrote extensively about the value of friendship, urging his readers to cultivate relationships that inspire virtue and resilience. These historical examples show that Stoicism isn't a solitary practice, it's a shared journey, one where we draw strength from those around us. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Start by reflecting on the people in your circle. Are they lifting you up, challenging you to grow, and supporting you through tough times? If not, it might be time to seek out new connections, whether through a local group, an online community, or even a simple coffee chat with someone who shares your values. And if you already have a strong network, don't hesitate to lean on them when you need it. Remember, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Here's a practical step to take today. Reach out to someone in your life, a friend, a family member, or even a colleague, and let them know you appreciate them. Share a kind word, offer your support, or simply spend time together. By nurturing these connections, you're not just building a community, you're creating a foundation of resilience that will help you face life's challenges with greater strength and clarity. After all, as the Stoics remind us, the path to a meaningful life is one we walk together. So, who will you reach out to today? Humility is the foundation of true strength. It's a statement that might seem contradictory at first. After all, isn't strength about standing tall, asserting yourself, and proving your worth? The Stoics, however, saw humility as a virtue that not only complements strength but deepens it. They believed that true power comes not from dominating others or feeding our ego, but from recognizing our limitations, learning from our mistakes, and staying open to growth. In the words of Epictetus, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. This simple yet profound insight reminds us that arrogance closes doors, while humility opens them not just to knowledge but to resilience and inner peace. At its core, humility is about seeing ourselves clearly, not as inferior or superior, but as human. It's about acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. This mindset, far from being a weakness, is a source of incredible strength. When we approach challenges with humility, we're more likely to listen, to adapt, and to grow. We're less likely to be blindsided by our own blind spots or derailed by the fear of failure. Instead, we become students of life, constantly learning and evolving. The Stoics saw humility as a path to wisdom because it keeps us grounded, curious, and ready to face whatever comes our way. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're at work and you've just made a mistake. Maybe you overlooked an important detail in a project, or you mishandled a conversation with a colleague. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to shift blame, or to downplay the error. But what if instead you chose humility? What if you said, "I messed up and I'm sorry. How can I make this right?" That simple act of owning your mistake doesn't just repair trust, it builds it. It shows others that you're not just capable of success, but of growth. And in doing so, it transforms what could have been a setback into an opportunity for connection and improvement. The Stoics didn't just preach humility, they lived it. Take Marcus Aurelius, who, despite being the most powerful man in Rome, often reminded himself of his own fallibility. In his meditations, he wrote, "You will find no one who is ungrateful or treacherous more often than yourself." These words weren't meant to shame or belittle, they were a call to self-awareness. By recognizing his own flaws, Marcus was able to lead with compassion, to learn from his mistakes, and to remain steadfast in the face of immense challenges. His humility wasn't a weakness, it was the cornerstone of his strength. So how can you practice humility in your own life? Start by reflecting on one area where pride or ego might be holding you back. Is it in your relationships, your career, or even your personal goals? Ask yourself, where can I admit I don't have all the answers? Where can I listen more, learn more, and grow more? By identifying that area and taking small, intentional steps toward humility, you're not just overcoming objections and obstacles, you're building a foundation of resilience and wisdom that will serve you for a lifetime. After all, as the Stoics remind us, the path to true strength begins with the courage to be humble. How often do you prepare for life's challenges? It's easy to assume that preparation is something we only do for big events, like studying for an exam or rehearsing for a presentation. But the Stoics believed that preparation is a daily practice, one that equips us to face not just the known challenges, but also the unexpected ones. They understood that life is unpredictable, and the best way to navigate it isn't by trying to control every outcome, but by preparing our minds and emotions to handle whatever comes our way. As Seneca wisely said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. These words remind us that true confidence doesn't come from chance, it comes from readiness. The Stoics saw preparation as more than just a practical tool. It was a mindset. They believed that by anticipating challenges, whether they were emotional, physical, or situational, we could respond to them with clarity and calm rather than fear or panic. This doesn't mean obsessing over every possible scenario or trying to predict the future. Instead, it's about cultivating a mental resilience that allows us to adapt no matter what happens. Think of it like training for a marathon. You don't just show up on race day and hope for the best. You prepare step by step, mile by mile, so that when the day comes, you're ready to run. Take a job interview, for example. It's a situation that can feel overwhelming, even for the most confident among us. But what if, instead of focusing on the potential for rejection or failure, you prepared by visualizing success? What if you practiced answering tough questions, researched the company, and even mentally rehearsed how you'd handle a curveball? This kind of preparation doesn't just boost your confidence, it shifts your mindset. You're no longer walking into the unknown, you're stepping into a challenge you've already faced in your mind. That's the Stoic approach to preparation. It's not about avoiding fear, but about facing it head-on so you're ready when it counts. Seneca's advice on this was clear. We should always be prepared for adversity so that it cannot surprise us. He wasn't advocating for constant worry or pessimism. Instead, he was urging us to build a mental framework that allows us to stay steady, even when life throws us off balance. This kind of preparation isn't just about thinking ahead, it's about creating a foundation of inner strength that supports us, no matter what we encounter. Here's a practical way to start. Think about an upcoming challenge in your life, whether it's a difficult conversation, an important deadline, or even a personal goal. Take a few minutes each day to mentally prepare for it. Visualize the scenario, anticipate potential obstacles, and imagine how you'll respond. This mental rehearsal isn't about perfection. It's about building the confidence and clarity to handle whatever comes your way. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, helping you approach challenges not with anxiety, but with a sense of readiness and purpose. Preparation, as the Stoics teach us, is more than just a strategy, it's a way of life. It's about training your mind to stay calm, your emotions to stay steady, and your actions to stay aligned with your values. So, what's one challenge you can start preparing for today? The answer might just be the first step toward a more resilient, confident you. How often do you rush through life's challenges, desperate to reach the finish line? In a world that prizes speed and instant results, patience can feel like an outdated virtue, something we admire in others but struggle to cultivate ourselves. But the Stoics saw patience as far more than just waiting. They saw it as a form of strength, a way to navigate obstacles with clarity and purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, because an artful life requires being prepared to meet and withstand sudden and unexpected attacks." These words remind us that patience isn't passive. It's an active choice to stay steady, to observe, and to act with intention, even when the world pushes us to hurry. For the Stoics, patience was a cornerstone of wisdom. They believed that rushing through challenges, whether it's a difficult conversation, a career setback, or even a personal goal, often leads to mistakes, frustration, and missed opportunities. Instead, they taught that by slowing down, we gain the clarity to see the bigger picture, to understand what's truly within our control, and to make decisions that align with our values. Patience, in this sense, isn't about sitting back and waiting for life to happen. It's about moving forward with purpose, even when the path feels slow or uncertain. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you've been working toward a promotion for months. You've put in the extra hours, taken on challenging projects, and done everything you can to prove your worth. But when the promotion is delayed or worse, given to someone else, it's easy to feel frustrated, even resentful. This is where patience comes in. Instead of reacting impulsively, quitting your job, lashing out, or giving up, you take a step back. You remind yourself that growth often takes time, that setbacks are part of the process, and that your effort isn't wasted, even if the reward isn't immediate. This kind of patience doesn't just help you navigate the disappointment, it positions you to seize the next opportunity when it arises. Here's a practical way to start practicing patience. Think about one situation in your life where you've been feeling impatient. Maybe it's a project at work, a personal goal, or even a relationship. Now ask yourself, what would it look like to approach this with more patience? How can I slow down, observe, and act with intention rather than haste? This simple shift in mindset can transform how you experience challenges, turning moments of frustration into opportunities for growth. Patience, as the Stoics understood, is more than just a virtue, it's a skill. It's the ability to stay calm in the face of uncertainty, to trust the process, and to act with clarity even when the outcome isn't clear. So, where in your life can you start practicing patience today? The answer might just be the first step toward a more resilient, intentional you. Virtue is the highest good in Stoicism. It's not just a lofty ideal, it's the foundation of a meaningful, resilient life. For the Stoics, virtue wasn't about being perfect or moralizing over others. It was about cultivating qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance to navigate life's challenges with integrity and purpose. These virtues weren't separate, they were interconnected, each one reinforcing the others. Together, they formed a roadmap for living well, no matter what obstacles life threw their way. As Epictetus once said, the virtue which is the guide of life must be planted within the soul. These words remind us that true strength doesn't come from external achievements, but from the character we build within. Let's break this down. Wisdom, for the Stoics, was about seeing the world clearly, understanding what's within our control and what's not, and making decisions based on that clarity. Courage wasn't just about bravery in the face of danger, it was about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. Justice meant treating others with fairness and respect, recognizing that we're all part of a larger whole. And temperance was about balance, knowing when to act and when to hold back, when to pursue and when to let go. These virtues weren't just abstract ideas, they were practical tools for living a life of resilience and purpose. Take Cato the Younger, for example. A Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher, Cato was known for his unwavering commitment to justice. Even when it meant standing alone against corruption and tyranny, he refused to compromise his principles. His life wasn't easy. He faced exile, betrayal, and ultimately death. But through it all, he remained steadfast in his virtues, becoming a symbol of integrity and resilience. Cato's story shows us that living virtuously isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about facing it with dignity and strength. So, how can we apply this in our own lives? Start by reflecting on one virtue you'd like to strengthen. Maybe it's wisdom, taking the time to pause and reflect before making decisions. Or perhaps it's courage, standing up for what you believe in, even when it's uncomfortable. Whatever it is, ask yourself, how can I embody this virtue in my daily life? This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step you take toward living more virtuously is a step toward a more resilient, meaningful life. Here's a practical exercise to help you get started. Think about a recent challenge you faced. Now ask yourself, how could I have approached this with more wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance? Use this reflection as a guide for the next time you encounter a similar situation. Over time, this practice will help you build habits of virtue, making it easier to navigate life's challenges with clarity and purpose. The role of virtue in Stoicism isn't just about overcoming obstacles, it's about transforming them into opportunities for growth. By living virtuously, we not only strengthen our character, but also create a foundation of resilience that allows us to face whatever life brings. So, what's one virtue you can start cultivating today? The answer might just be the first step toward a more intentional, empowered you. What are you holding onto that no longer serves you? It's a question worth asking because so often the things we cling to, whether they're old habits, past mistakes, or even relationships that have run their course, can weigh us down more than we realize. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that letting go isn't about giving up, it's about creating space for growth, clarity, and freedom. As Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." These words remind us that much of our pain comes not from the events themselves, but from our attachment to them. By learning to release what no longer serves us, we open the door to a more intentional, resilient way of living. For the Stoics, detachment wasn't about becoming indifferent or cold. It was about recognizing that holding onto things, whether they're material possessions, emotional baggage, or outdated beliefs, only limits our ability to move forward. Think of it like this: if your hands are full of old, heavy stones, you can't pick up anything new. Letting go is about dropping those stones so you're free to embrace what truly matters. This isn't always easy, but it's necessary. As Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Letting go isn't about losing, it's about gaining the freedom to live fully without being weighed down by what no longer serves you. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're in a toxic relationship, one that drains your energy, undermines your confidence, and keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity. Letting go might mean having the courage to walk away, even if it's painful in the short term. It's not about denying the hurt or the history. It's about choosing your well-being over the comfort of familiarity. This kind of detachment isn't easy, but it's transformative. It's an act of self-respect, a declaration that you deserve better. And while it might feel like a loss at first, it's actually a step toward reclaiming your power and your peace. Here's a question to reflect on. What's one thing in your life that you're holding onto, even though it no longer serves you? Maybe it's a grudge you've been carrying, a job that's draining your passion, or even a belief about yourself that's holding you back. Whatever it is, ask yourself, how is this attachment affecting me? What would it look like to let it go? This isn't about making a drastic change overnight. It's about taking small, intentional steps toward freedom. Start by acknowledging what no longer serves you, and then make a plan to release it one step at a time. The practice of letting go, as the Stoics teach us, isn't just about decluttering our lives. It's about reclaiming our ability to live with intention and purpose. It's about recognizing that true freedom comes not from what we hold onto, but from what we're willing to release. So, what's one thing you can let go of this week? The answer might just be the first step toward a lighter, more resilient you. What small step can you take today toward your goal? It's a simple question, but one that holds the key to overcoming even the most daunting obstacles. The Stoics understood that big achievements aren't built in a single moment. They're the result of countless small, consistent actions taken over time. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." This idea reminds us that progress isn't about waiting for the perfect opportunity or the grand gesture. It's about showing up every day, even when the steps feel small and the results seem invisible. Think about it. How often do we set ambitious goals only to feel overwhelmed by the sheer size of the task? Whether it's mastering a new skill, improving your health, or building stronger relationships, the magnitude of the goal can make it feel impossible. But what if, instead of focusing on the end result, you broke it down into manageable daily actions? The Stoics believed that small, consistent efforts, what they called micro-virtues, are the building blocks of lasting change. It's not about perfection or speed, it's about persistence. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the secret of all victory lies in the organization of the non-obvious. In other words, the small, often overlooked actions are where true progress happens. Let's bring this to life with a relatable example. Imagine you've decided to learn a new language. The idea of becoming fluent might feel overwhelming, but what if you committed to just 10 minutes a day? Over time, those 10-minute sessions add up. You're not just learning words, you're building a habit, creating momentum, and proving to yourself that you're capable of growth. The same principle applies to any goal. Want to run a marathon? Start with a daily walk. Hoping to write a book? Commit to 1 paragraph a day. The size of the action doesn't matter. What matters is the consistency. The Stoics didn't just preach this idea, they lived it. Take Epictetus, who was born into slavery and faced unimaginable hardships. Yet, through small, daily acts of self-discipline and reflection, he not only gained his freedom but also became one of history's most influential philosophers. His story is a testament to the transformative power of small actions. It's not about the grand gestures, it's about the quiet, consistent effort that builds resilience and character over time. Here's a practical way to apply this in your own life. Today, choose one small action that aligns with your goals. It could be as simple as reading a page of a book, meditating for 5 minutes, or reaching out to a loved one. Commit to doing it every day, no matter how small it feels. Over time, these small steps will compound, creating a foundation of progress that's far stronger than any single leap. As you reflect on this, consider, what's one small action you can commit to today? How might this daily practice help you overcome an obstacle or move closer to your goal? The path to victory isn't built in a day. It's built in the small, consistent choices we make every day. And those choices, no matter how small, are where the real magic happens. Equanimity is the Stoic superpower. It's the ability to stay calm and composed no matter what life throws your way. For the Stoics, equanimity wasn't just a nice-to-have trait, it was a necessity. They believed that maintaining inner peace in the face of challenges was the key to overcoming objections and obstacles with clarity and purpose. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. These words remind us that while we can't always control external events, we can always control our response to them. Equanimity is the bridge between chaos and calm, allowing us to navigate life's storms with steady hands and a clear mind. So, how do the Stoics cultivate this sense of calm? It starts with understanding that our emotions, while natural, don't have to dictate our actions. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a boat on rough waters. The waves are crashing, the wind is howling, and the boat is rocking. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose how you respond. Do you panic, lose your balance, and let the waves toss you around? Or do you steady yourself, adjust your sails, and navigate through the turbulence? Equanimity is that act of steadying yourself, of staying grounded even when everything around you feels unstable. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Picture this, you're at work and a major project you've been leading hits a snag. Deadlines are looming, tensions are high, and everyone is looking to you for answers. In that moment, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, to let stress take over and cloud your judgment. But what if, instead of reacting impulsively, you paused? What if you took a deep breath, assessed the situation calmly, and started breaking the problem into manageable steps? That's equanimity in action. It's not about denying the stress or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to respond with clarity and composure, even in the heat of the moment. The Stoics didn't just talk about equanimity, they practiced it daily. Marcus Aurelius, despite the immense pressures of ruling an empire, often reminded himself to stay grounded. In his meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This wasn't just a philosophical musing, it was a daily mantra, a tool for maintaining calm in the face of constant challenges. His ability to stay composed, even under immense pressure, is a testament to the power of equanimity. Here's a practical way to start cultivating this skill in your own life. The next time you find yourself in a stressful situation, whether it's a difficult conversation, a tight deadline, or even a personal conflict, try this. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what's within my control here? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and goals? This simple practice can help you shift from reacting impulsively to responding intentionally, giving you the clarity and calm you need to navigate the challenge effectively. Equanimity, as the Stoics teach us, isn't just about staying calm. It's about staying empowered. It's about recognizing that no matter how chaotic the world around you may seem, you have the power to choose how you respond. So the next time life throws you a curveball, remember, equanimity is your superpower. How will you use it to rise above the storm? What is your guiding purpose in life? It's a question that can feel overwhelming, but it's also one of the most important ones we can ask ourselves. For the Stoics, purpose wasn't just a lofty ideal. It was the North Star that guided every decision, every action, and every response to life's challenges. They believed that when we have a clear sense of why we're here and what we're striving for, obstacles become easier to navigate. Purpose gives us direction, resilience, and a reason to keep going, even when the path gets tough. As Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." These words remind us that without purpose, we're simply drifting at the mercy of circumstance. But with it, we become captains of our own ship, charting a course through even the stormiest seas. The Stoics saw purpose as more than just a goal or a dream. It was a way of living. It was about aligning your actions with something greater than yourself, whether that's serving others, pursuing wisdom, or contributing to the common good. This alignment didn't just make life more meaningful, it made it more resilient. When you know your why, the how becomes clearer. Challenges no longer feel like random setbacks, they become part of the journey, opportunities to refine your purpose and strengthen your resolve. Think of it like this: if you're climbing a mountain, the summit is your purpose. The rocks, the storms, the steep climbs, they're just part of the process. Without the summit, those obstacles might feel insurmountable, but with it, they're just steps along the way. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As Roman emperor, he faced immense pressures, political intrigue, military threats, even a devastating plague. But what kept him grounded wasn't his title or his power, it was his sense of purpose. In his meditations, he wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This simple yet profound statement reflects his commitment to serving the greater good. For Marcus, his purpose wasn't just to rule, it was to lead with wisdom, justice, and compassion. This clarity allowed him to face even the most daunting challenges with a steady hand and a clear mind. His purpose wasn't just a guiding light, it was his anchor in the storm. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Start by reflecting on what truly matters to you. What drives you? What gives your life meaning? It doesn't have to be grandiose. It could be as simple as being a supportive friend, a lifelong learner, or someone who makes a difference in small but meaningful ways. Once you've identified your purpose, use it as a lens for your decisions. When faced with an obstacle, ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? How can I use this challenge to move closer to what I value most? This shift in perspective doesn't just make challenges easier to face, it transforms them into opportunities for growth. Here's a practical exercise to help you get started. Take a moment to write down your purpose in one sentence. It doesn't have to be perfect, just honest. Then think about one obstacle you're currently facing. How does this challenge connect to your purpose? How can you use it to move closer to what you value? By reflecting on these questions, you're not just overcoming an obstacle, you're reinforcing your sense of purpose, making it stronger and more resilient. Purpose, as the Stoics teach us, isn't just a destination, it's a journey. It's the thread that weaves through every decision, every challenge, and every moment of growth. So, what's your guiding purpose, and how will you let it guide you through life's storms? The answer might just be the key to unlocking a more resilient, intentional you. How well do you adapt to life's changes? It's a question that strikes at the heart of resilience because life, as we all know, rarely goes according to plan. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that adaptability wasn't just a useful skill, it was a cornerstone of inner strength. In a world full of unpredictability, the ability to adjust, pivot, and flow with circumstances can mean the difference between being overwhelmed and thriving. As Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This simple yet profound insight reminds us that while we can't always control what happens, we can always control how we respond. Adaptability, then, is about choosing to respond with flexibility rather than resistance. For the Stoics, adaptability wasn't just about rolling with the punches, it was about seeing change as an opportunity for growth. Think of it like a tree in a storm. The rigid tree might snap under pressure, but the flexible one bends, sways, and ultimately survives. The same principle applies to us. When we cling too tightly to how things should be, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. But when we embrace adaptability, we open ourselves to new possibilities, new perspectives, and new ways of moving forward. It's not about giving up control. It's about shifting your focus to what you can control, your mindset, your actions, and your willingness to adapt. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you've just started a new job. At first, everything feels unfamiliar, the culture, the processes, even the way people communicate. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to wish things were more like your old job, or to resist the changes. But what if, instead of resisting, you leaned into the discomfort? What if you saw this as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to expand your skills? This mindset shift from resistance to adaptability doesn't just make the transition easier. It transforms the experience into a chance to become more resilient, more resourceful, and more capable. That's the power of adaptability in action. The Stoics didn't just preach adaptability, they lived it. Take Epictetus, who was born into slavery and faced countless hardships. Yet he didn't let his circumstances define him. Instead, he adapted, using his experiences to develop a philosophy that continues to inspire millions today. His life is a testament to the idea that adaptability isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about using them to grow stronger and wiser. As he famously said, no great thing is created suddenly. Adaptability is the bridge between where we are and where we want to be, built one small adjustment at a time. So how can you cultivate adaptability in your own life? Start by identifying one area where you've been resisting change. Maybe it's a new routine, an unexpected setback, or even a shift in a relationship. Ask yourself, how can I approach this with more flexibility? What's the opportunity here? This simple act of reflection can help you shift from resistance to resilience, turning obstacles into stepping stones for growth. Adaptability, as the Stoics teach us, isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's the willingness to embrace change, to see challenges as opportunities, and to move forward with purpose, no matter what life throws your way. So, where in your life can you start practicing adaptability today? The answer might just be the first step toward a more resilient, intentional you. Silence is a Stoic's secret weapon. In a world that often values noise, constant chatter, quick comebacks, and instant reactions, silence stands out as a profound tool for clarity and strength. The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw silence not as a lack of action, but as a deliberate choice to pause, reflect, and respond with intention rather than impulse. It's in the quiet moments that we can hear our own thoughts, untangle our emotions, and find the wisdom to navigate life's challenges. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This insight reminds us that silence isn't just about the absence of sound. It's about creating space for inner peace and understanding. But how does silence help us overcome objections and obstacles? Think of it like this: when we're faced with a difficult situation, our first instinct is often to react, to defend ourselves, to argue, or to fill the void with words. But what if, instead of jumping into action, we paused? What if we allowed ourselves a moment of silence to breathe, to think, and to see the situation clearly? This is where the power of silence shines. It gives us the chance to step back from the heat of the moment, to detach from our emotions, and to choose a response that aligns with our values rather than our impulses. Silence, in this sense, isn't passive, it's a strategic pause that empowers us to act with wisdom and clarity. Consider a common scenario. You're in the middle of a heated argument with a loved one. Emotions are running high, and every word feels like fuel to the fire. In that moment, silence can be transformative. Instead of escalating the conflict with a sharp retort, you take a deep breath and stay quiet. That silence isn't just a pause, it's an act of strength. It allows you to listen, to understand, and to respond with compassion rather than anger. It's not about winning the argument, it's about preserving the relationship and finding a resolution that honors both sides. This is the Stoic approach to silence, using it as a tool to de-escalate, to reflect, and to act with integrity. Here's a practical way to start incorporating silence into your own life. Each day, set aside 5 minutes for quiet reflection. Find a space where you won't be disturbed, close your eyes, and simply breathe. Let your thoughts come and go without judgment. This daily practice isn't about emptying your mind, it's about creating a habit of stillness, a moment to reconnect with yourself and gain clarity. Over time, you'll notice that these moments of silence don't just calm your mind, they sharpen your ability to face challenges with composure and confidence. Silence, as the Stoics teach us, is more than just a pause, it's a pathway to inner strength and resilience. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. So, where in your life can you practice the power of silence today? Whether it's in a difficult conversation, a moment of frustration, or simply a quiet moment to yourself, the choice to embrace silence might just be the key to unlocking a calmer, wiser you. Who do you need to forgive to free yourself? It's a question that can feel uncomfortable, even painful, but it's also one of the most liberating questions we can ask. Forgiveness, as the Stoics saw it, isn't about excusing someone's actions or pretending they didn't hurt you. It's about releasing the grip of resentment and reclaiming your inner peace. Holding on to anger or grudges they believed is like carrying a heavy weight. It doesn't punish the other person, it burdens you. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, put it this way: anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. These words remind us that forgiveness isn't just an act of kindness toward others, it's an act of self-care, a way to lighten the load we've been carrying. For the Stoics, forgiveness was a practice of letting go not of the memory of what happened, but of the emotional charge that keeps us tied to it. Think of it like this: when someone wrongs you, the initial hurt is unavoidable. But the bitterness, the anger, the desire for revenge, those are choices, and they're choices that often cost us more than they cost the other person. Forgiveness, then, is about choosing to release those emotions, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. It's about recognizing that holding onto resentment doesn't change the past, it only poisons the present. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, forgiveness allows you to rise above the hurt, to act with integrity, and to move forward without being weighed down by the past. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine a close friend cancels plans with you at the last minute, leaving you feeling hurt and unimportant. In the moment, it's easy to let that frustration fester, to dwell on the slight, to question the friendship, or even to lash out. But what if, instead of letting that resentment take root, you chose to forgive? Not because your friend's actions were okay, but because you value the relationship and your own peace of mind. This doesn't mean ignoring the issue or pretending it didn't happen. It means addressing it calmly, expressing how you feel, and then letting it go. Forgiveness, in this sense, becomes a bridge, a way to repair the relationship and move forward without carrying the weight of anger. So, how can you start practicing forgiveness in your own life? Begin by reflecting on one person you've been holding onto resentment toward. It could be someone who hurt you deeply, or even someone whose actions were small but still left a mark. Ask yourself, how is holding onto this resentment affecting me? What would it look like to release it? This isn't about making excuses for the other person or pretending the hurt didn't happen. It's about choosing to prioritize your own well-being over the desire to hold onto anger. As Seneca wisely said, the more we forgive, the more we free ourselves from the chains of the past. Here's a practical step to take this week. Identify one person you can forgive. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It could be as simple as letting go of a grudge, having an honest conversation, or even just silently releasing the resentment in your heart. Notice how it feels to let go, even just a little. Does it bring a sense of relief, a lightness, a step toward reclaiming your peace? Forgiveness, as the Stoics teach us, isn't about forgetting. It's about freeing yourself to live fully without being weighed down by the past. So, who will you forgive today? The answer might just be the key to unlocking a more resilient, intentional you. When was the last time you laughed in the face of adversity? It might sound strange, but humor can be one of the most powerful tools for navigating life's toughest moments. The Stoics, known for their serious approach to philosophy, actually valued humor as a way to maintain perspective and resilience. They believed that laughter wasn't just a distraction from hardship, it was a way to rise above it. As Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And sometimes the best reaction is to laugh. Humor, for the Stoics, wasn't about denying the seriousness of a situation. It was about refusing to let it control your spirit. Take Seneca, for example. Known for his sharp wit and insightful writings, Seneca often used humor to diffuse tension and reframe challenges. In one of his letters, he joked about the absurdity of human worries, pointing out how we often agonize over things that, in the grand scheme of life, are trivial. This kind of lightheartedness wasn't about trivializing pain, it was about reducing its power over us. By finding humor in the absurdity of life, Seneca was able to maintain his composure and clarity, even in the face of immense personal and political turmoil. His ability to laugh, even in difficult moments, was a testament to his Stoic resolve. So, how can humor help us in our own lives? Think about a recent challenge you faced. Maybe it was a stressful day at work, a disagreement with a loved one, or even a personal setback. In those moments, did you find yourself taking things too seriously? What if, instead of letting frustration take over, you took a step back and found something to laugh about? It doesn't mean ignoring the problem, it means refusing to let it define your mood or your day. Humor, in this sense, becomes a form of resilience, a way to lighten the load and keep moving forward. Here's a practical way to start. The next time you're faced with a challenge, try to find one small thing to laugh about. Maybe it's the irony of the situation, the unexpected twist, or even your own reaction to it. This isn't about making light of serious issues. It's about reclaiming your ability to stay grounded and hopeful, even when things feel overwhelming. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Sometimes the way forward is paved with a smile. So, as you navigate your next challenge, ask yourself, where's the humor in this? How can a little laughter help me see the situation in a new light? By embracing humor, you're not just overcoming obstacles. You're transforming them into opportunities to grow, to connect, and to find joy even in the midst of difficulty. After all, life is too short to take everything so seriously. Why not laugh a little along the way? Endurance is the mark of a true Stoic. It's not just about gritting your teeth and pushing through. It's about embracing challenges as opportunities to strengthen your character and refine your resilience. The Stoics saw endurance as more than a physical or mental feat. It was a moral discipline, a way to prove to yourself and the world that you could withstand hardship without losing your sense of purpose or integrity. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, because an artful life requires being prepared to meet and withstand sudden and unexpected attacks." These words remind us that life will test us, but it's in those tests that we discover our true strength. Think of endurance not as a single act, but as a daily practice. It's the small, consistent choices we make to keep going when things get tough, to stay focused when distractions arise, to remain patient when progress feels slow. The Stoics believed that enduring challenges with grace and determination wasn't just about survival, it was about thriving. It was about showing up day after day, even when the path ahead seemed uncertain or overwhelming. This kind of endurance isn't flashy or dramatic, but it's deeply transformative. It builds the kind of resilience that allows us to face life's obstacles with calm and clarity. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're training for a marathon. In the beginning, the idea of running 26.2 miles feels impossible. Your muscles ache, your lungs burn, and every step feels like a battle. But instead of giving up, you commit to the process. You show up for your training runs, even when you're tired or unmotivated. You push through the discomfort, knowing that each mile is building your stamina and your confidence. By the time race day arrives, you're not just physically stronger, you're mentally tougher, more disciplined, and more resilient. That's the power of endurance in action. It's not just about finishing the race, it's about becoming the kind of person who can. The Stoics didn't just talk about endurance, they lived it. Take Epictetus, who endured the hardships of slavery and exile, yet emerged as one of history's most influential philosophers. His life is a testament to the idea that endurance isn't about avoiding pain, it's about using it to grow stronger and wiser. As he famously said, difficulties are things that show what men are. For Epictetus, every hardship was an opportunity to prove his character, to demonstrate his resilience, and to live in alignment with his values. His example reminds us that endurance isn't just a test of strength, it's a test of character. So, how can you start practicing endurance in your own life? Begin by identifying one challenge you're currently facing, whether it's a personal goal, a professional hurdle, or even a difficult relationship. Ask yourself, how can I approach this with patience and perseverance? What small, consistent steps can I take to endure and grow through this experience? This isn't about rushing to the finish line. It's about embracing the process one step at a time. By cultivating endurance, you're not just overcoming obstacles, you're building a foundation of resilience that will serve you for a lifetime. Endurance, as the Stoics teach us, isn't just about withstanding hardship, it's about transforming it into a source of strength. It's about showing up day after day with patience, determination, and a steadfast commitment to what truly matters. So, what's one challenge you're ready to endure today? The answer might just be the first step toward a stronger, more resilient you. As we come to the end of this journey through Stoic philosophy, let's take a moment to reflect on the timeless principles we've explored. At the heart of it all is the dichotomy of control, the simple yet profound idea that some things are within our power while others are not. By focusing our energy on what we can influence, our thoughts, actions, and choices, we free ourselves from the frustration of trying to manage the uncontrollable. This isn't just a mindset shift, it's a liberation, a way to reclaim your power and direct it toward what truly matters. Then there's resilience, the Stoic superpower that transforms obstacles into opportunities. The Stoics didn't see challenges as something to fear or avoid. They saw them as teachers, revealing our true nature and pushing us to become stronger, wiser versions of ourselves. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, it's about moving forward with purpose, using every setback as a stepping stone to growth. And let's not forget the power of presence, the ability to stay rooted in the here and now. When we're fully present, we're not just reacting to life, we're actively shaping it, one mindful moment at a time. These principles, control, resilience, and presence, are the pillars of what it means to live with Stoic Iron Will. They remind us that true strength isn't about brute force or unyielding determination. It's about clarity, adaptability, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These words are a call to action, a reminder that the greatest battles we face are often within, and the key to overcoming them lies in mastering our own mind. So, as you reflect on these Stoic principles, ask yourself, how can you apply them in your own life? Where can you focus more on what's within your control? How can you cultivate resilience in the face of challenges? And where might you bring more presence and mindfulness to your daily routine? The answers to these questions aren't just philosophical musings, they're practical tools for living a more intentional, empowered life. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. How has Stoic philosophy impacted your life? What challenges have you faced, and how have you used these principles to overcome them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else on their journey. And if you found value in this video, consider subscribing for more insights on how to live with clarity, strength, and purpose. Together, let's continue to explore the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and how it can help us all dominate life's obstacles with unshakable iron will. Thanks for watching, and remember, the power to rise above any challenge is already within you.